What is up, everybody? Coming at you with yet more Starcraft 2 action. We got game number 4 between Ahab, also known as Zolanar, the purple Terran, located in the top right, and ScoobyJ, the green Protoss, in the bottom left. This map is, of course, xel'naga caverns, so those are, in fact, the only places they could spawn. But you never know. They might be in this location, or they might have... Jay might have been at the top and Zolanar at the bottom. Anyways, this is, as I said, game number 4 in this best of 5 series. Jay taking the first game with some good Dark Templar harass. Zolanar taking the second and third game in pretty decisive manner, going for a very strong MMM ball. Those Marines and Marauders just tearing the place up. Quite literally, because, well, they are Terran units. Jay scouting out real quick with that probe, hitting the watchtower up along the way. Not sure what that ping is all about, but Jay is in fact in the base. Looks like he was trying to pick off that SCV, but struggling a little bit. Back home, Jay's gateway going up a little, just a tad late. Probably a little bit distracted over in the base here, managing his probe. Not quite able to finish off any of these SCVs, one of them probably repairing the other one. And with that supply depot up, Jay's not able to get any information. But Zolanar is in fact going for the exact same build he has every time so far. Going for bunker, well, barracks, but eventually bunkers. Probably going to be putting down another barracks in the near future. Not opting for any early gas, just so he can get up a couple barracks, go for some Marines and early command center, and he is making me a liar by building that refinery. Both refineries, in fact, so we may end up seeing something different from Zolanar this game after all. Jay switching it up as well, going for 2 gates before the cyber core. If he chose to, he could probably put a little bit of pressure on Zolanar here. Chrono boost out 2 or 3 zealots. He does have the chrono energy for some chrono boosting. But with the second barracks coming up from Zolanar, chances are by the time those zealots got all the way across the map, you would have enough Marines to deal with this. Zealots are kinda slow. Let's take a look at how slow they are now that one's popped out. 2.25 speed. That is slow indeed. It's actually the exact same speed as Marines, although Marines do kinda have guns. 3 barracks for Zolanar. 1 just finishing a tech lab, 1 just finishing a reactor. I'm not sure what the spectators are so concerned with Zolanar's base about, but yeah, whatever. Looks like Jay's got both watchtowers at this point. Not quite sure why he opted for this 2 gateway opening. He's not really... I don't think he's been producing out of the second gateway at all so far. I mean, I guess he would have that production if he opted for it, but third gateway coming down. I guess the strength is really going to be when this gateway or warp gate comes out. He's going to have the gateways done already. This is going to let him get up in the army pretty early. Pretty much every game we've seen so far, Zolanar would have opted for an expansion before this, but perhaps the reason he is choosing not to is because of this map. Because as you can see, this choke is not much of a choke at all, actually. It's extremely massive, and there's of course the back door here as well, so it makes the second expansion kind of hard to hold. So it might be a wise decision by Zolanar to instead build up a bigger army before going for that expansion. Jay pushing out with his zealot, likely just looking to scout out that expansion timing, perhaps catch it off guard. Pylon on the low ground. Jay might actually end up expanding before Zolanar this game. Forge going down. Jay's sitting the Zell here, just saying, "You ain't expanding." Zolanar not catching wind of this Zell, so he's just pushing right out. Or maybe not. Yes, there is in fact an army there. Stim-Pack researching. With those 3 barracks, his army's actually looking pretty big already, so a nice timing push timed with that Stim-Pack could probably do a lot of damage. He's gonna still a lot of stalkers though. Doesn't look like he's going for the Twilight Council, so they are not blink stalkers. Stalkers are probably just gonna get annihilated by them Marauders. Marine Marauders, pretty darn effective against Stalkers. If he had these Zealots a little bit earlier to kind of take the brunt of the assault, I think Jay probably would have fared a little bit better, but it looks like he's just gonna lose his army at this point. And with the production coming out of Zolanar, I don't think Jay's going to have much chance to come back from this unless he's able to make a brilliant tech switch off one base. Probably is going to be able to clean up this assault. But a little bit of reinforcements coming in for Zolanar. This Marauder's at 2 health. And Stim just now finishing, and that's probably going to seal the fate. These Marauders do of course have concussive shells, making any Zealots more or less worthless. Nice force field on the ramp though to hold off for Jay, but just doesn't really have what it takes to probably not going to be able to produce enough army to hold this off. The Immortal's coming out though, so that's going to be able to deal with those Marauders real nice. Force fielding the ramp, preventing any more reinforcements. Although they're just going to sit here outside as natural, or maybe retreat back to his base instead of inflicting the killing blow. I guess to each his own. If his photon cannon had been up a little bit earlier, probably would have given Jay a bit better chance in that engagement. But expansion now coming down from Zolanar. Probably should have put this down a little bit earlier. Usually you want to expand when you attack, so it's usually a good idea to expand behind your aggression rather than after your army's already returned home. But either way, he's got a pretty significant army advantage. So Jay's gonna have to pull some wizardry out of his hat to come back from this one. I do think Immortals are probably a good answer to all these Marauders. That is a lot of Marauders. Jeez. The problem, of course, being that Marines do tend to rip through Immortals pretty good. But then, Guardian Shield does kind of do a lot of good against Marines. Expansion going up for Jay. Not quite saturated in his main quite yet, so it's a little bit early, but you know. Usually you don't want to expand after you're saturated. It is a good practice to expand before that point. These two opponents sharing the watchtowers at this point, and Ahab is already building up a pretty significant supply lead. Going for both gases. He does like his supply drops. Got the engineering bay. Combat shield's not researched yet. Starport going down. Got a couple photon, well, just the one photon cannon for Jay. What I should really do is place just 2 pylons right here that completely blocks off the back. It's a very good way of denying backdoor attacks. But it's pretty understandable that Jay's a little bit frantic. He's just on the back foot here, really trying to get any advantage he can. And when you're in that kind of situation, it's kind of hard to think about setting up your defenses so much as just trying to claw your way back into the game. Build up your army just in case that attack comes, because you don't want to get killed by said attack. It's like the reactor building straight on the starport for Zolanar. On this map, I think I probably prefer this bunker placement rather than going straight from the ramp to the command center, because that is a bit of a long way. And this natural is very wide open, so having good coverage is probably a good idea. Observer going out for J. Gotta be careful of this missile turret. Aside from the turrets in the mineral lines and that one going down, that is the only turret he has at the moment. J catching up a little bit. So we got the 2 immortals though. He could probably do with a few more. Looks like he's going for the 3rd. Gold base is definitely a very good idea. Very good way of clawing your way back into a match. One could argue that he probably should have actually taken it sooner. Just risk losing to an early counterattack and take that 3rd to get that lead you need to actually get your way back into this game, because J is macroing well, but the thing is Zolanar is too, and he's still up almost 30 supply at this point. Whereas if J had this gold, he would have been able to produce faster than his opponent, and that would have been a good way of getting back into the game. It's like a photon cannon coming up back here. I would think you would prefer to put that on the other side of the foliage here, so you can actually shoot your opponents before they are on top of you, but perhaps I am incorrect in that assumption. We got a Twilight Council. Looks like Jay researched charge at some point or other. That's very scary from Zolanar. Good lord, that's a lot of marauders. You know, people always complain about Marines being overpowered, but there's not a whole lot you can do against that many marauders. Although, if Jay did have more immortals, he'd probably roll over that army pretty well. It's really not pumping out those immortals all that quickly. That 3rd's still not going down. Zolanar almost up to 40 supply ahead. He's working off 5 barracks at the moment, producing medevacs 2 at a time when he wants to. Looks like he did take out his own rocks, and he's now opting to go forward the 3rd. And that might just seal the deal here, because Jay's already kind of on the back foot. If he goes down a base, especially a gold base, then that's probably just going to be it for him. Jay does have +1 weapons, +1 armor, +1 weapons for Zolanar. Looks like he's going for some sneaky backdoor plate with these medevacs. +1 armor on the way. He does have the 3 big MMM upgrades. Though I guess there's no upgrades for the medevacs. Jay does see this army moving forward. He probably expects an attack. You can see he's kind of mobilizing his army here. That might work against him if... Where'd those medevacs go? Where'd they go? Oh, there they are. I guess he saw the photon cannons and decided not to. Jay getting out some High Templar, though he does not have Storm yet, so yeah. might be in his best interest to actually merge these into Archon straight away. And Jay's just starting to really fall behind, just straight up. I mean, he's almost 50 supply behind at this point. Look at the army supply tab. It's a little more even than I thought, but I mean, he's nearing twice the workers that Jay has. Just now, opting to drop that off, so that's certainly not going to help Jay's economy. That drop is wiped out. I believe those medevacs got cleaned up too. He probably was able to feed back those with the Templar, which, I mean, they might not be able to storm, but that's something. Retreating out of range of these photon cannons before engaging. That's a smart move by Zolanar, though I don't know how much it really matters. It just hits that T button and Jay's army just kind of melts. And that's probably going to be a good game, as Zolanar has almost 4 times the supply of Jay at this point. Jay, of course, also mining off of one base with a mere 5-6 probes on minerals at this point. His production facilities on the low ground are getting annihilated, and Zolanar's just not doing anything with this third. Although even if you don't have probes, mules on gold is ridiculously ridiculous. And Jay calling the good game, and that's going to be the match point. So, Jay's out of the tournament, and Zolanar will be going on to face Somicite in the next round.